When it comes to classic war films, The Guns of Navarone often stands out as one of the greats. Released in 1961, this movie combines action, suspense, and character drama in a way that still feels impressive today. It's not just about soldiers blasting their way through enemy lines. It's about the tension between men, the moral choices they face, and how far people are willing to go for the greater good. Over 60 years later, it remains a film that audiences keep coming back to, and for good reason. The story is adapted from the best-selling novel by Alistair MacLean, who wrote many thrilling tales set during World War II. The setup is fairly simple, but powerful. A group of Allied commandos are sent on a dangerous mission to destroy a pair of massive German guns on the Greek island of Navarone. These guns are so powerful that they threaten Allied ships and block a major rescue operation. Without taking them out, thousands of soldiers could die. So the job of destroying these giant cannons falls to a small team of specialists, each with their own skills and personality. The film wastes no time building up the stakes. From the beginning, we understand how important this mission is and how impossible it seems. The Germans have turned Navarone into a fortress. The cliffs are sheer, the defenses are tight, and the guns themselves are buried deep within the rock. Even getting onto the island is a challenge. This sense of danger is what drives the whole movie forward. It's not just about fighting Nazis, it's about fighting the odds. One of the strongest things about The Guns of Navarone is its cast. Gregory Peck plays Captain Mallory, the leader of the mission. Mallory isn't a typical action hero. He's calm, thoughtful, and carries the weight of leadership on his shoulders. Peck brings a quiet intensity to the role, making Mallory someone we trust, but also someone we know is making incredibly tough decisions. Alongside him is David Niven as Miller, the explosives expert. Niven gives the film a touch of humor and humanity, but his character is also deeply moral, often questioning the cost of the mission. Then we have Anthony Quinn as Colonel Andrea Stavros, a Greek officer with a personal vendetta against Mallory. Quinn brings fire and emotion to the role, showing the pain of someone torn between duty and revenge. Together, these three performances carry much of the film's emotional weight. Each character represents a different side of the war experience. Mallory's burden of command, Miller's moral questioning, and Andrea's personal grief. The supporting cast also adds plenty of depth, especially Stanley Baker as the hardened Brown James, Darren as the young American Spiros, and Irene Papas as Maria, one of the local resistance fighters. It's a true ensemble piece, where the drama comes just as much from the clashes within the group as it does from the enemy outside. Director J. Lee Thompson does an excellent job balancing character moments with large-scale action. He keeps the pacing tight, even though the film runs over 2.5 hours. Every scene feels like it builds tension, whether it's climbing the dangerous cliffs of Navarone, sneaking through enemy territory, or arguing about how to handle betrayal within the group. The movie doesn't just rely on explosions and gunfire. Instead, it thrives on suspense. Will they get caught? Can they trust each other? What happens if one of them cracks under the pressure? These questions keep the audience invested from start to finish. One of the most famous sequences in the film is the dangerous climb up the cliff face during a storm. It's a breathtaking scene that sets the tone for everything that follows. You feel the danger in every moment, the rope slipping, the rocks giving way, the characters straining to stay alive. It's a perfect example of how The Guns of Navarone builds tension not just with guns and explosions, but with the raw struggle for survival. Another standout element is the theme of betrayal. Without spoiling too much, the team discovers that someone might be feeding information to the Germans. This subplot adds another layer of paranoia and mistrust. It forces the characters and the audience to question loyalty and sacrifice. Who can be trusted when the stakes are this high? It's this moral complexity that lifts the film above being just another war adventure. Visually, the film is stunning. Shot on location in Greece, the landscapes feel real and immersive. The cliffs, the sea, and the ancient villages all add to the authenticity. You can feel the heat of the sun and the roughness of the terrain. Combined with the large-scale sets, including the massive German gun emplacements, the movie feels grand in scope. For a film made in the early 1960s, it still holds up surprisingly well. The score by Dmitry Tiomkin also deserves praise. It's sweeping and dramatic, fitting the epic tone of the story. At the same time, it knows when to pull back and let silence do the work, especially during moments of suspense. Music in war films often risks being too patriotic or too heavy-handed, but Tiomkin strikes the right balance between excitement and seriousness. What really makes The Guns of Navarone memorable, though, are its themes. On the surface, it's about a daring mission, but underneath, it's about the human cost of war. The characters constantly struggle with tough decisions. Do they sacrifice one man to save many? Do they risk civilians for the greater good? These aren't easy questions, and the film doesn't always give easy answers. That moral weight is part of why the film still resonates today. When it was released, the movie was a huge success. Audiences loved the combination of action, suspense, and star power. It was nominated for several Academy Awards and won for Best Special Effects. It also cemented Alistair MacLean's reputation as a writer whose stories worked brilliantly on screen. In fact, the success of this film paved the way for later adaptations of his work. Like Where Eagles Dare. Looking back now, some parts of The Guns of Navarone may feel dated. The pacing is slower than modern action films, and some of the dialogue reflects the era in which it was made. But the core of the film, the tension, the performances, and the moral dilemmas, still holds up. It's not just a movie about blowing up big guns. It's a movie about people, under pressure, trying to do the right thing in impossible circumstances. The legacy of the film is also worth noting. It influenced countless other war and action movies, from The Dirty Dozen to The Eagle Has Landed. Its mix of espionage, sabotage, and personal drama became a template for the men on a mission genre. Even modern films owe something to Navarone's balance of action and character. There was even a sequel, Force 10 from Navarone 1978, starring Robert Shaw and Harrison Ford. While it didn't capture the same magic as the original, it shows just how much impact the first film had. People wanted more stories in that world. And even if the sequel isn't remembered as fondly, the original remains a cornerstone of war cinema. In the end, The Guns of Navarone is more than just an old war movie. It's a film about courage, trust, and sacrifice. It shows that the greatest battles aren't just fought with guns and bombs, but within the hearts and minds of those asked to do the impossible. Gregory Peck, David Niven, and Anthony Quinn give performances that still stand tall today, and the direction keeps the story gripping from start to finish. If you've never seen it, it's worth checking out, not just as a piece of film, history, but as an adventure that still thrills and makes you think. And if you have seen it, you probably know why it continues to be celebrated more than 60 years later. The Guns of Navarone isn't perfect, but it's powerful, emotional, and unforgettable. And that's why it remains one of the great war films of all time.